All right, all right, all right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you on location from the Adirondack Mountains. It is Slowdown Sunday, and we are fireside again. This time a real fire. Love the real fires. And we have a special guest. Ann is back once again to talk about some music. Ann, how are you today?
I'm good. I actually did I went out for the first time ice fishing.
Oh, how did that go? You're still here, so
I'm
that's
still
good.
here. I'm still here. It was a lot of fun. I went out. We had a tent out in the middle of the lake, and we caught some lake trout. And now we're going to have it for dinner. So that's just fantastic. I'm also lying about catching the lake trout and having that for dinner. I didn't catch anything.
It's all in the sport of it,
It's
just
all
being
in
out
the
there,
sport,
right?
right.
Yes.
At least I got out there.
Right, that's true. What else we have going on for Slowdown Sunday?
Well, everybody is still talking about A-Rod and J-Lo.
What happened with them? I'm not in the know.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
You do not have Wi-Fi up here?
I do, but it's
so
not
we're
in my
not
news
sure.
feed.
As of now, we're not sure if they actually broke up or maybe they did, they didn't. My theory is that the royal family put this out there to take the heat off of Meghan and Harry, but we don't know. So we'll see.
That sounds right.
Today is also the day that everybody has to change their clocks. So if you haven't changed your clock, you should move your clock forward 1 hour, not backwards, forward, because it's spring forward.
Right, and that means that the Song of the Day could be posted even later for some people, depending, or early if you're waiting for this to happen. So hopefully everyone got that right.
Right, and we do know that there are people out there, and I'm looking at you, that get crazy if Song of the Day isn't posted by 7 a.m.
Right, we are in front of a live audience. We do have some people here helping us out in the background. Dwight, Becca, Matt, Sarah, all in the crowd here. You guys have something under your chair. If you look under your chairs, you got yourself a little present there. Everyone look under your chairs. Tickets to see Josh Groban! You're all going to Josh Groban!
I didn't know I was on Oprah. You get to go see Josh. You get to go see Josh. Where the hell's my ticket?
Well, we'll see. It's under your chair.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Right.
So today in music history, in 1981, Eric Clapton was actually hospitalized for a stomach ulcer that was bleeding so badly. He was in St. Paul, Minnesota, and was hospitalized, and then had to cancel about 70 shows after having that taken care of. So that was a big deal in music history, especially if you were an Eric Clapton fan and had tickets.
Yep.
Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh.
It was their third #1 hit today on March 14th in 1987. The song Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder.
For those of us who are Huey Lewis and the News fan.
And not all of us have been in a Huey Lewis and the News video, have they?
No. I was in a Huey Lewis and the News video. Yep. Little itty bitty pretty one. Way back when.
Harris.
Yeah, well, you got to look really hard to find me.
All right.
It wasn't like I got pulled on stage like Courtney Cox did.
Close, though. Close.
Well, yeah. You got to look for me. Backstreet Boys made their debut on Saturday Night Live with their song As Long As You Love Me.
All right.
And then another not so well known boy band called Bon Jovi started back on this day in 1983.
And were they called Bon Jovi one word when they first started?
I actually don't know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that? Huh.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up.
From their Jersey band.
Yeah.
Red Banks, right?
Right. And then
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them.
Yes.
They're not so. And then Farm Aid was today in 1992. Farm Aid had over 40,000 people in Texas.
Is that Willie Nelson's project? No, that's John Cougar Mellencamp's
John Cougar Mellencamp,
project.
1992.
Right. Okay.
And then a shout out to Quincy Jones. Today's his birthday, as is one of the Hanson brothers, Jordan Taylor Hanson.
Bop?
Yeah, Bop.
Got it. All right. A lot of boy bands in the news today.
A lot of boy bands today.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about for Slowdown Sunday? What do I have? All right, well, I'm excited for today's topic, and I kind of made you do this topic. You had all kinds of ideas. We had Carole King on the list. We had, who else did we have on the list?
Neil Diamond. I wanted to do Neil Diamond.
But we've already covered Neil Diamond.
He was inducted into the Music Hall of Fame today.
Right, so that would have been a good one. We'll loop back around on him again.
Right.
But because we're in the Adirondacks, and it's our last trip to the Adirondacks until maybe the end of May,
right.
The music that I think of when I'm up here is usually 1940s music. I don't know if you know that about me, but I love 1940s music, and when I think about that in general, I think about this artist, Peggy Lee. And had you heard of Peggy Lee before we talked about this?
You know, I hadn't. So we put on her music today in the camp. Some of the songs actually I did know, but what was driving me absolutely batshit crazy was the fact that she plays a lot of Christmas songs. She sings a lot of Christmas music. And when you're in March and it's about to be spring, the last thing you want to hear is Christmas songs. And so every time a Christmas song started, I was like, shut it off. I can't take it anymore. But
right. Well, in my house, you can play Christmas music year-round, and it's okay
is it
with
Christmas
my girls.
at your
it
house
can be.
year-round?
It can not for Sarah and I, but up to my girls, they would play it.
Every day is a holiday at the Pierces. That's
right. Exactly. Right. So Peggy Lee, born in 1920 in North Dakota. She typical story. Started singing at a young age, but she managed to very early age in her early teens get on the radio. Get herself in the Dakotas on the radio programs and singing, and then from one thing led to another. Next thing you know, she's doing actual shows. She moves to Florida, and she's getting jobs at clubs by the time she's 16, 17, and someone catches the eye of her, and it's actually Benny Goodman's partner sees her and says, "Benny, you got to go see this woman sing," and brings him down there, and they were looking for a female vocalist to replace their vocalist, and they approached her, and she got the job, and she did that for 2 years, and that's where she got her start. And then when she went solo, she had a #1 song within that first year, 1941 or so, 42, #1 song, and then her second hit was "Why Don't You Do Right," which, if you don't know that song, that is a great song. That's your first task today, is to listen to that one. But that one went to #1 and sold over 1 million copies and just made her very, very famous. She recorded over 1,100 songs in her career, 5 decades of career, something like that, 6 decades. She wrote 270 songs.
Wow.
She was an actress. She was in The Jazz Singer, the original one with Danny Thomas in 1952. And she was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 1955 for a movie called Pete Kelly's Blues, which I had not heard of before. And as far as singing is concerned, we talked about this, but she also did the vocals for Disney's movie Lady and the Tramp. And she's the voice of the human darling. She's one of the dogs in there, and she is the voice of the Siamese cats.
Right.
And she wrote and sang the song for those two, I Am
Right.
Siamese, If You Please.
What are the names of the cats again?
Cy and Am.
Right. So we talked about this last night, and then we had the earworm the entire night of that song, We Are Siamese, If You Please.
Right, and anyone...
Yeah. You're welcome for that earworm.
Right, so if you remember seeing that movie, now you know who sings that song. Anyway, so she had a very long list of hits, and if you don't know who she is, you should just put on her greatest hits. I think if you put one of her greatest hits on, it will not have Christmas music on it. So if you just put on the one that's called, I think, the greatest hits of Miss Peggy Lee, you'll skip over all the Christmas stuff. And you'll probably recognize some of her songs. Why Don't You Do Right, like I said. Waiting for a Train to Come In. Ciabatta. Mañana was a hit this week in 1945. Big Spender. So
That
Big
song,
Spender
Hey,
is...
Big Spender.
Yeah, and Big Spender, it was from...
Thanks for letting me not sing on the show.
Right. But Big Spender was in Sweet Charity on Broadway.
Right.
And who was the director of that but Fosse, right?
Oh, right, Bob Fosse.
Bob Fosse. And
Right.
so if you watch that show on Netflix about them, Fosse and Verdon,
Right.
you will see that clip of that song many times being performed, and you will get that song in your head. And it's a great song, actually. So you got Black Coffee, another one. All Right, Okay, You Know.
Black coffee, just so our audience knows, we're not actually drinking coffee. I got wine in mine. What do you have?
I have seltzer in mine right now.
Oh, no, mine's water. I just have water in mine. Mine's
But I should have said something else like bourbon.
I thought you were
right?
getting bourbon.
That's next. Riders in the Sky, if you remember that Western song. I don't know a thing about you, but really her biggest hit is going to be our song of the day.
Right.
And that song is
Fever.
Fever. Everyone knows Fever, right? Mm-hmm. And Madonna famously remade Fever on her album Erotica, if you remember when she did Fever. So you probably know her version, but go back to Peggy Lee's version of Fever, and this is just great music. If you're sitting around on a Sunday, put on Peggy Lee's Greatest Hits, or better yet, just start a Peggy Lee Pandora station, and it is just awesome to just sit around, drink coffee, and listen to 1940s like music. It's awesome.
My favorite Peggy Lee fun fact is she was married 4 times within 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how that happens, how you can get married 4 times. I think she was married to 2 different husbands in the same year. I think she got married and divorced and then married to someone new.
Oh, maybe it was one of her early hits, that one that says, "Why don't you do right?" The next line is, "Get me some money too."
Oh, see,
Right.
I'm going to use that with my sons. Why don't you do right?
Yeah.
Hashtag, why don't you do right?
And get me some money too.
And get me some money too.
Right. All right, so here we go. That's it. We're Peggy Lee. That's your song of the day. That's what you should do on Slowdown Sunday, is give a listen to that. I want to hear people's feedback. If you've never heard any Peggy Lee, play it today and tell me what you think. If you already knew her music, I want to hear from you. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Yep. And
You don't have a choice. Just
that's
I mean,
true.
everybody who watches this knows he doesn't have a choice.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till I hear about your Josh Groban concert that everyone is going to hear. All right, you ready?
Yep.
In the morning.
1, 2, 3. We'll
We'll catch you on the flip side.